Hello Patreon and welcome to the June 2025 Sketchbook Sessions. I am starting out with another one of my paintings on the handmade paper. This was the very beginning of the month and felt like adding another girl to the collection, and here we were. So this was primed with Peel Stop. That turned out to be my favorite of the three primers I experimented with. I did not yet try mixing glue with cornstarch to make, which is kind of a internet recipe for homemade gesso, like a clear gesso, I assume. Because the cornstarch, it's kind of milky, but I don't think it would have been opaque over the handmade paper. But yep, just going with the Peel Stop. Very happy with that. I did face a different downside, which was this was one of the later pieces of paper I made, and so it was very thin compared to my earlier sheets. And so that would be something to keep in mind for the next time, is even with the prep, with the primer that really soaks in and, it strengthens the paper a great deal, it was still a little dicey at times, and that's why I kind of was going in with the paint markers for doing more of the outlines. Because like the wet brushes, it was staining through. But yeah, it turned out great. Played with doing more outlines, like adding multiple layers of colored outlines, one after another. And I think it turned out pretty cute. I actually did, I didn't capture it on video because it was like a few days later. I added a couple more colors to her. So the way she looks right now, her face is actually just a little bit more of a rainbow gradient, but so pretty, so fun. So yeah, I only have, I think, 3 pieces of my handmade paper left. And I think I'll do another session. I've got plenty of scraps. Maybe add in some metal leaf this time, some other colors of glitter. Keep it rolling. All right. So now I am going to start sewing. This was a light month art-wise because I really, really strained my wrist. I'm not sure how I did it. I don't think I was doing anything unusual, but I had so much pain where just like lifting a glass of water was this numb, radiating pain out from my wrist and through my hand. And so yeah, I had to take a break from a lot of things. I kind of pushed it with a couple Fluttercat paintings, but I don't like being idle. And so I decided, maybe I can sew. I'll try sewing, because a lot of sewing, it doesn't really require any sort of hand strength, and it's not much repetitive motion. And you know what? I was able to squeak by without making anything worse. And so yeah, I decided I'm going to make some bucket hats. I can't find any of my sun hats that I only have, like these huge straw sun hats, but none of my casual wear ones, I don't know where they are. And so I decided to sew my own. Oh, look at the selvage on this one. It's a Mary Mecco from 1992. Isn't that awesome? Such a fun print. So I've got this cool color change thread. I put the same color in the bobbin, and for a 1 centimeter seam allowance, you can see from the outer right edge of the presser foot to the needle position in the center, that's 1 centimeter. So yeah, I'm just kind of giving random details. I'll do a more detailed write-up, and basically I was just following the tutorial. This was a pattern I downloaded for free from Sweet Red Poppy. Never heard of them, but I just searched bucket hat pattern free, and she had a free PDF and instructions on how to sew it, and so I just went at it. This black and white material is kind of a canvas, and this was the reason I used it first is because I don't really like this fabric. Like, I have no other reason to use it. I don't like the pattern very much, but I have it. I got it for free somewhere, and that's just the best way to experiment, because right, I wasn't going to use my precious Mary Mecco on the first run. And basically, yeah, just follow the instructions. It's all straight seam. I think technically you could sew one of these by hand if you don't mind spending more time on it. It wasn't complicated at all. This is my first time making a sun hat. But yeah, I didn't find it complicated. It was just, yeah, it was just new. But the instructions were fairly straightforward. I did have a few confusing moments where I almost got lost because it's reversible. This took the longest, okay? Attaching the circle at the top, pinning that to the side panels or for the middle panels, that took me like 25 minutes just to get it pinned evenly. So yeah, that was that was frustrating. But yeah, overall, you can see my phone up on the side. I've got the instructions on there. And one step at a time. Now, for this, as I said, it is reversible, but I just use the same fabric on both sides, because I didn't have another pattern to mix up with this. I just go with it. Use this patterned canvas. Get it over with. And what I think is so funny about making things by hand is if I saw this hat in the store with this fabric, I would never ever have bought it. It's not my style. I just don't particularly like it. I don't hate it. I just don't like it. But because I made this hat myself, I love her. I love her so much. I've been wearing it almost every day when I go out on my walks. And so I do think that's really special. Obviously even more special when you make something with fabric you love, the pattern is like exactly what you want. But yeah, I do think that's funny. Because I would never have bought this, but it's my new second favorite hat. So this was the most confusing part for me, was in the assembly instructions to make it reversible. The final step, so you assemble the brim first, and then you attach the top to the middle, and then sewing everything together is all the right side of the materials have to be touching each other, and then you tuck the brim in, and so you're left with this kind of little pillow shape. And then I used blue tape to mark a gap, because you don't want to sew it completely shut, because then at the very end you flip it inside out. And so for the second hat I made, I followed slightly different instructions. I watched some different videos for assembly just to see what else was out there. And I kind of did learn some different tips for like aligning the pattern pieces. I'm a casual sewer. I am very, very casual about it. You saw at the beginning, I did not iron my fabric. I kind of was like stubborn. Oh, I'm not going to iron it. I don't need to. I don't care. I did end up ironing the pieces after I cut them out, because I was like, okay, these are just too darn wrinkled. But, yeah, here it was flipped, back to the right side out. And then that little gap that's left at the end there, you just top stitch it down, and you can't even tell. You can't even see it. So I will say this first construction method, I prefer that. There was a different video I watched that showed you assemble each half of the hat separately, and then you sew it together from the bottom of the brim and then flip it inside out. And I didn't like that at all. I thought it was harder to align the seams. Okay, so here's for hat 2. I found a video on how to adjust pattern pieces, because this hat, while it fits me great and comfortable, it is loose. It is fairly loose, like a good gust of wind could blow it off my head. And so I wanted to make the hat just a little bit deeper, and so I extended the center pattern pieces, and then I just took a couple of millimeters off each side to make it just the tiniest bit tighter. And so here I was trying that second construction method where I assembled each piece separately, but then once I came to start pinning it, I was unhappy with aligning all my seams. You see, I actually did the effort of top stitching on this one as well. I top stitched all the seams to just really give it that crisp look. And so I just went with a totally different construction method when it came to the brim. Oh wait, side note, look at this. I used a different color changing thread on this one. Here I am refilling the bobbin. Look at that purple. Oh my gosh, I love it. We have a discount department store in Maine called Martin's, and that's where I got these. It's good for craft supplies. You get weird stuff because these threads were like $1 a piece or 58 cents, something like that. Really, really cheap. And so I just bought a bunch of them a few years ago, and it's always an adventure when you go to Martin's. There's a lot of weird stuff there. They'll get like factory closeouts, or like a store burns down somewhere and you get fire damaged merchandise. It's a fun place. So for the final touch, because I didn't assemble the brim first, rather than having a seam at the very bottom, I decided to go with a decorative top stitch for the very final row. And so I'm doing this daisy chain pattern, and then let the ends kind of artistically fray very slightly. And so it has kind of this carefree feeling. Of course, you can see there, it's some kind of, requires a little maintenance. Trim off the long fraying pieces until the hat kind of normalizes it. But yeah, I'm so happy with it. You can see how I custom cut my pattern pieces, so each side has a slightly different colorway, and of course it still coordinates because it's the same bolt of fabric. But yeah, one side's a little warmer than the other. So perfect, so fun. I highly recommend making your own bucket hats. I'm going to put the links to everything in my written description. Super easy and fun. I was scared that I would look like a baby because I have a big round head, but you know what, so far so good. Just for me, I think stay away from pastel colors. That's the trick. And yeah, so here is the very, very end of the month, where finally my wrist hasn't been doing that crazy pain radiating whatever that was for a few days now, and I've been doing extra icing and extra wrist brace wearing and was just warming up again, kind of just doing random sketches in the sketchbook, starting out with a ballpoint pen, working, just drawing. I don't know, these girls are going through it. Just drawing this style where they have these oval eyes. So something about me, I went to university for fashion design for about 4 whole weeks. For all of my adolescence, all of high school years, I was positive that I wanted to be a fashion designer. And I got a scholarship, started at school, and within a couple days, it was an epiphany moment. It was like, wow, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. And so yeah, I left school and went and did a number of other things before coming back to art. But I do still love fashion and fashion drawings, and I will say I always hated the traditional style of fashion illustration, these stupid stick figure stylized women. It's like everybody just does the same look, everybody just draws the same way. It's so bizarre. Yeah, my fashion illustrations are going to be cat girls and weird depressed women with hooded eyes, because yeah, that's what makes more sense to me. And yep, so just having fun with it. No plans. Colored pencils, pens, whatever. Kind of these were kind of fun. The drawing session morphed into these sort of celestial women, like floating in space water, And yeah, I kind of like those. That's fun. Doing these abstracted heads. Yeah, maybe, maybe I'll do a painting of one. I'm almost at the end of the sketchbook. I was going to try to fill it just for this video, but then I didn't want to push my wrist. This felt like plenty for, for a couple days, because I'm still right on the edge. And so that is that. There are my girls. So pretty. Yeah, this was fun. My colored pencils kept breaking while I was drawing here. It was very frustrating. Kept breaking, and so eventually I was just like picking up the little colored bit with my fingertips and trying to draw it in. So there they are. Everybody's looking fabulous. Got to make those pear-shaped earrings for myself out of paper mache. And yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for your support, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.